ora e te whānau. How are you all today? Did you wake up for the storm?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Did you feel energized?
Yes.
I did. It was quite scary, but quite cool. Thank you so much for joining us today, despite the hairy weather this morning. We're going to kick off today with a karakia from Lucy here.
Morena e te whānau, ki karakia tātou. Pau hihiri, pau rārama, pau o te whakaaro, pau o te tangata, pau o te aroha. Te pau e hiri nei i a tātou, mauri ora ki a tātou, humi e, hui e, tai ki e. Kia ora.
Kia ora, my name's Christine. I'm a co-host for Creative Mornings. I never do that, so I thought I'd better tell you who I am. And I'm joined today by Claire, my other co-host, and some wonderful volunteers that have made you breakfast and set up this morning. And so every month for Creative Mornings, we have a different theme. And this theme is the same across the entire world for all 270 odd chapters. The lovely Claire, welcome, come on in. The lovely Claire is going to share with us a little blurb about our theme today of growth.
When we were kids, it happened fast. We outgrew clothes and shoes seemingly overnight. We constantly reached for things just out of our grasp. We made messes and art without worrying about what anyone would think. As we shift into adulthood, growth gets harder to come by. Get good grades and a great job. Burn the midnight oil. Struggle against the odds. Then somewhere along the way, we get comfortable with the status quo. Sitting on the couch, watching and scrolling instead of trying and doing. But creativity demands growth, not the kind that can be measured with a ruler. It's about taking stock of your character. Who's ready to chase wild possibilities and meaningful progress? We must unlearn the need to be perfect and busy. Remember how to play and get our hands dirty. It takes curiosity and courage, because growth doesn't always feel good. It forces us to shed our old skin, to stumble and start again. Sometimes growth happens quietly, in between uncertainty and doubt, the moments when nothing seems to be changing, until everything does.
Beautiful. So Adobe has been our global sponsor for an entire year now. They came on board about this time last year. So I wanted to show you some photos from all around the world, if my phone will allow me to remember all of the places. So these are chapters from around the world celebrating Adobe. So this is in Lisbon. This is in Bengaluru. This is in Chicago, Paris, Portsmouth, San Francisco, Santa Fe, Virginia Beach, and Hong Kong. So there's people all around the world, just like you. Not exactly right now necessarily, because time zones, but celebrating together, coming together as community. So this year, Creative Mornings Wellington has had 9 events, I believe. So there are, I'll go back a minute. There are 12 months of the year. There's a theme for every month. We only do 11 because in December, Wellington doesn't really exist. Also silly season. It's too silly as it is. We lost one event due to speaker sickness, and we just skipped one event. I think I was hiking. I think you were also away, so we just gave up. So that's 9. Is that 9? Am I doing the math right? 9 events total. I want to do a little activity with you folks. As we go through the months, really quick, I'm going to get you to jump up if you attended. And if you attended, you're allowed to give yourself a tally on your fingers. So this is an honesty exercise as well. And there's a little prize at the end for the person that's attended the most events here today. So give yourselves all a thumbs up for attending right now, our 9th event for the year. So keep your thumb up, okay? You're not allowed to put that thumb down. So moving through. Jump up if you attended Steve's talk in January on Journey. So this is Ultra Wild, thank you, perfect. You can stand up, give a little wave, do a little dance. You can do it too. Fantastic. And sit down. So keep your fingers up though. Who attended Peter Campbell's February workshop, the collage workshop? Stand up. Amazing. And add a finger. Add a tally finger. Cool. Who attended Rachel Simon's April Crossroads workshop? Yep, amazing. So it was the voice actor, voice over artist and voice actor. Sneha Pulapaka, her May revival workshop, which was the Indian traditional wood print. Yeah, woodblock print. Perfect. Look at those. I see some many fingers now. You're going to have to move to double hands. Ross Gardner, June, punk. Nice, nice. Keep tallying those fingers. Rob Cousins, his mentorship workshop, where we actually kind of matched up with people and talked about being a mentor and what it meant. Yep, fantastic. Rachel Young, August, Nomad. Add a tally finger. You might have to put your cup down. Emma, just the other month, talking about zero waste fashion design. Fantastic. Those are the ones we've had. So, hands up if you've, stand up if you've attended 9 events. You don't count. Stand up if you've attended 8 events. You did? Yeah. You got 8? That's okay. And anyone for 6 events? Oh, well, you said you were 7. Sorry, I apologize. So you're 8? 7? Possibly you're the same. So both 8, you reckon? 7. Okay, 7. And so anyone attended 6? Or 5? You're 5? Fantastic. It's a little gift for you. A little gift for you. And a little gift for you. I appreciate you all. I also appreciate these guys, our sponsors for our events. So we have Porniki Bakery and Dough Bakery for the bread, Bad Baker for our breakfast cookies, and 40 Thieves for the peanut butter. We've got Wonderland Chocolate and Apostle for our speaker gifts, and you folks here just got a little gift as well. Libertine Teas, Coffee Supreme, All Good Oat Milk for your beverages this morning. Of course, 257 for this beautiful space. It's co-working space, so if you need a wee place away from home to do some work, check this place out. Samantha Turner on the camera today. I don't know why this logo's dropped out, but Andy, who's also a speaker, also Hype Entertainment. Colourcraft for your labels this morning. And I don't know where that text went, but it's your copy and pasting, Andy. Big shout out to our volunteers for always helping out on the mornings and throughout the month. Also a particular shout out to Penny, who is moving to Australia next year. So this is her last Creative Mornings event with us. We thank you so much, Penny, for all the hard work you've done. And I'm going to hook you up with the Melbourne Creative Mornings folks, because you've got this ready-made community right there. So without further ado, Andy and I are going to swap places. And we're going to hear from Andy Binns talk about his growth journey. Fantastic. Big round of applause. Here's your remote.
Thank you. Morena, everyone. This is little 3-year-old me in my grandma's garden, giving you all a big good morning wave. And before I introduce myself, I would love to do a special mention for my grandparents. They gave me this beautiful space when I was growing up to adventure, explore, experiment, and really dig deep into my creativity, and they nurtured that space for growth. This is me. A few years later, I moved over from the UK when I was 12 with my family and my brother, and it was the best decision we ever made, because the beautiful native bush here is just an amazing place to explore, relax, and unwind, and I absolutely just love going into the unknown. I also love dancing, as a lot of my friends know, and playing the music that brings up the vibe and the energy in a room. And design. So getting creative and building installations that mesmerize and also help those that I love. And I was very lucky to find the crossroads where those three meet and set up a business called Hype Entertainment and become an immersive event designer. So up the top left here, we have an installation we did for Trade Me's 25th birthday, where we used 11 projectors, mapped out the whole building with visuals, immersive visuals that took you 25 years into the future. And this was one of the zones, which was a massive immersive aquarium. And moving on to this one here, which is a 3D statue with the graphics. It's actually a 2D board, but the way we've designed the graphics and the lighting effects gives it that 3D appearance. And people like go up to it and try and touch it, and they're like, what's going on here? It's kind of like a hologram in a way. Down the bottom left, a couple of months ago, we took the guests on a trip to the moon. And we launched from Earth, took 2.5 hours to get there while the band was playing, landed on the moon, moon rover went around, and when we took off, hyperspace. And that's when the DJ kicked off and the energy in the room was just insane. And speaking of out of earthly things, probably one of the wildest briefs we've had this year was when a lady, a bride-to-be, reached out and said, "Can I get an alien abduction at my wedding?" And I was like, "Sure. Would you like a UFO to fly in and then hover on the ceiling and the aliens to creep on in?" And she was like, "Yes, that sounds amazing." The groom, the guests had no idea. And at 9:45, when it was just about wrapping up, everything just came to life and people were just, what the? So that was pretty sweet. But all this didn't happen overnight. I would like to take you on the journey today with its twists, its turns, its leaps, and its interesting techniques to get into the creative flow, which has helped make this happen. Navigating the journey through challenges and also the beautiful synchronicity that has allowed this to happen. So, kicking things off, when I was a young lad, 19 years old, I went to uni and tried to do the designer thing. Go to uni, learn design, but what I didn't know is that there'd be massive essays, and those stressed me out like no tomorrow. So I was just like, I lasted 6 months and I was like, this is not good for my health, my mental well-being, I'm out. And luckily my parents backed me. They're like, hey, you do you, make your own path. And then at the end of that year, 6 months later, is when I set up Hype Entertainment with some budget speakers that cost me about $180 each, some lights which just went red, yellow, green, blue, and a strobe that if you turned over half the power, blew the fuse in it. So you had to be pretty careful in the event. But the first event we did, my brother's Leavers Ball, went off. There was so much energy in that room, I was hooked. So I took out a 12 grand loan and bought my first professional PA system and the lighting, and then just dove deep into YouTube and learning all the tutorials to allow me to use the software and program the lights and make it all happen. But in the process of acquiring gear, I needed to store it somewhere. So I kind of took over my parents' garage and also their living room and also their kitchen. And this is when everything changed. So my brother's workmate, he was like, hey, your brother's into design, right? He's like, yeah. And he's into events? He's like, yeah. He's like, bring him down to the pub. I got some software to show him. So he did. And that's when, absolute game changer, he showed me projection mapping. And this is where you can, pixel by pixel, morph where the projector fires the light so you can accurately just fire it exactly where you want it. And on this morning, when I bought a projector and was having breakfast, I thought I'd fire some light into this milk bottle and make it go up and down to the music. So, and then I was walking around the house and I was like, well, this this light switch looks a bit boring. Let's jazz it up a little bit. So yeah, this is our early experiments 13 years ago, which just got me on the track and got me started. And then as the business started to grow, I was like, man, I need some help. I need some team. And luckily, Florian right here just happened to be strolling up the road. He saw the hype trailer and he was like, hey, I've just come over from Germany. I'm an event technician and I would love to work for you. And I'm like, okay, cool, jump on board. And he was an absolute legend. He had such like a mind and just was an absolute genius and probably one of the kindest and most thoughtful people I know. And that like friendship and has just blossomed. And 3 years later, I was at his wedding. So, but then also it's about looking the part too. So like when I was listening to a business podcast, it was like to charge what you need to do in business, you need to look the part, look professional. So we got some fresh teas made up and we were on our way. Then the team grew and this man right here was an absolute game changer. He allowed us to take the business to that next level. Tom is an absolute tech genius and just the nicest, sweetest guy out and just this amazing systematical mind, which nicely complements my crazy, creative, chaos mind. So the way the two of us work together is a beautiful thing. And we're able to achieve big projects, but knuckle down on the details and really make things happen. So when Tom joined the team, we started to really dive deep into innovation and figure out how we could create projects, but then do it in a way that we could keep costs down. So what are some similarities between those top two images? What? Asimilar, yeah, the arch, yeah. So what we did was we used the exact same arch we used for the retro jukebox for the rotating statue, which meant it's better for the environment, better for the cost for the customer, and it's just a win-win. So, and then a little bit harder down the bottom here. The panels are the same panels on the sides, but we just added this one section and then turned an like a retro art deco installation into a cockpit heading to the moon. So it's pretty wild what you can do with projection and just that kind of thinking outside the box and just switching the angles. And then the next big stage of growth came, which was mentors. So I was on my way to Mahuki, a shared space, to actually with Jack down here, suggested I come along. And he's like, hey, check out this space, man. And they've got an event going on down there. And then I happened to stumble across a presentation while that was happening. And it was for like mentorship and funding for mentors. And that's when I was like, hey, who's this for? And it's like, oh, for young businesses, young startups. And I was like, hey, that's me. I was like, cool. And we ended up getting funding, and Laura Humphreys right here was an absolute legend who helped us take the business to the next level. She'd built 2 multi-million-dollar businesses and sold them, and now she loves helping out people on their journeys. One of the key takeaways from Laura would be that if you need to, in business, to get to the next level, you need to see what's possible and get that inspiration. So this is when synchronicity kicked in. I did some research and found out that there was this insane event happening up in Auckland, which New Zealand had never seen anything like this before. It was in a huge dome, which was fully 360 projection mapped with visuals that took you away to other worlds. And I was like, yep, let's make this happen. So I went there, and when I walked into that space, my jaw just dropped. And I looked up, fully just taken in the surroundings, and this lady taps me on the shoulder. She was like, you're really appreciating this, aren't you? And I was like, oh yeah, it'd be my dream to do something like this. And she's like, you know what? You should come visit our studio. And it turns out her and her husband are the top event designers in the country. They design massive shows for overseas, for like massive esports events and everything like that. And it was incredible. So I took upon that opportunity. I went up to Auckland in their beautiful little studio they'd created from an old schoolhouse. And that's when we got chatting, and he seemed a little stressed. And I was like, what's going on, man? And he's like, oh, we've got this big event in a venue that the client really wants to use, but it's not appropriate for what we want to do at all. We want to create a dark, kind of spooky space, but there's so much natural light in there, it's just not going to happen. And I was like, how about this, man? How about that? And he was like, you're pretty good at this. You want to join us on the gig? I'm like, yes, yes, I would love to join you on the gig. And that gig was just insane. So like, but there was one thing before I went up there, they warned me about, they're like, hey, these are gonna be big days. You need to find somewhere close, that's close to the venue, and you can easily get to it. So I was like, right. And it was like 2 weeks out from that, my friend reached out and she was like, hey, Andy, I'm working for Weather at the moment, and we just put up in this beautiful like apartment, and we've got a spare room. So anytime you want, just come hang, come chill. And I was like, wait, 2 weeks time? Yeah, cool. Can we lock that in? She said, yeah, sweet. So, and guess where that was? Closer, across the street. So it's like, it was just wild. It was like synchronicity. Was like, I was on the right path, and it was just like, here you go. Let's make it happen. And worked for them. And it was this, like, it just was, the scale of this event was insane. They had a 3-story high man-made tree, which wound up through the building with dead zombies hanging off, which I've nicely just censored here, because you don't want to see that at 8 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, and it was just that next level of just, whoa, this is what an event can be, or, you can achieve with the right clients. Budget. And then with all that mentorship and the right team, things got bigger. So in 2019, I got an email while I was over in Perth chilling with my mate, one of my best mates, and it was from Trade Me, and I was like, what's this from Trade Me? I was like, is my account like overdrawn? Like, when you sell something, it's like your funds are in deficit. I was like, oh. But then I looked at it, I was like, wait, hang on a second. It's like, hey, we've seen some stuff on social media, and we'd love you to design a party for us. And we're like, wait, what? Cool. So we had some good chats and ended up kitting out Foxglove down the waterfront and just totally transformed the place. I was in 2019. 2020, we did it again, but bigger. 2021, COVID hit and all the events got wiped out. So we did a live stream event for them. And then this really kind of built that kind of good friendship and foundation. And then in 2022 was when they were like, hey, do you want to do something big with us? And we're like, yeah, sweet. And when they told us the size and scale of the event we were doing, it was like, holy shit. But obviously, composed face, yeah, we can make that happen. So we locked ourselves into it. And the next step was figuring it out. So Tom, being the absolute genius in systems and data, plotted every single bit of kit and where it's going, the price, and like made up the massive kind of gear plan list. We got in touch with our production partners, ordered in all the gear we needed, which included these massive 12-meter high drapes, which blocked out the natural light so we could bring our projection map into life. And my parents, they love coming along for the journey too. My dad is retired, but he loves being on the tools, and yeah, it's cool, making them proud. And then after all that prep was showtime. So this is when everything started to come together, all the visions, all the drawings, and we designed these larger than life sculptures which symbolized what was happening in Trade Me for the next 3 years to get these people excited and get them on board. And it included like wild installations, like massive iPhones showing the apps that were the new apps they were designing, huge monolith symbolizing the old mainframe computer system going up to Google Cloud, made out of sheep's wool. And yeah, it was just incredible seeing all that come together, and a massive, massive team effort. And we got some pretty cool feedback as well. Like it was a Google event, it was spectacular and transformed. But when things get big and your mind is just going, going, going and can't stop, boom, burnout. And that's when I was just like, right, I need time to switch off, get into nature and be present and just connect with myself again, because I felt lost and just a robot. So that's when I went on adventures with my out of office hat to remind me to check out and not do any emails. And also on the cliffs of Castle Point, just when I got super present, had the most beautiful connection with my granddad on that cliff. And I was struggling. I was like, there was times around that time that my creativity was kind of like struggling because of how kind of much mental noise was going on in my head. And my friend was like, hey, have you tried meditation? And so he got me to download the Headspace app. And that's when one key takeaway from that was visualizing the liquid sunlight flowing through my body, and it was just charged. And then this event design that I'd been struggling with for so long, under the sea, and how to make an under the sea theme not cheesy was a challenge. So I was like, after that first meditation, I was like, under the sea, octopus, tentacles. And that's when I frantically started drawing and came up with the stage design. And then for the next 2 weeks, just went to absolute town, designing all the visual effects where there's 400 layers, which allow that dynamic pattern to flow through and change during the night. So I'm a big believer that rest and recovery equals reward. But then as the gear started to amount, we had to move out of my parents' garage. It would not hold us anymore. So we started moving into national storage, which is very overpriced for what you get. Which was a challenge because we needed to go somewhere, but we weren't yet big enough for the next space. But we did this, and we also used my flat garage for the tools and to make the projects. But then something had to give. And so we saved up the cash, all the cash we could. And then the next big move was the warehouse. So it's not massive, but it's our new home where we can design, we can create, we can really bring these installations to life and just scale up. And we also, as a few people here have experienced, our warehouse party was quite an event, which we fully mapped out the inside, and may have had a few 12 cops show up at 1 o'clock in the morning, but it was an experience for sure. Right? Loved it. And then boom, as things we like kind of on the up, lockdown, and that's when just everything just got shut down, all the events, and I kind of got lost. My purpose is massively intertwined with the business. And I was like, what am I going to do? I'm not designing, not any cool stuff or anything. So that's when I was actually standing. So I lost my sense of purpose, and I was standing out, looking at the view, taking it in. And I looked down and I saw a house with a big white wall. So I got a projector, fired it out the window, and started doing messages of support for the neighborhood around me. So be safe, be kind, hello neighbors, kia kaha kandala, just a big smiley face, you're gonna bring the vibes, it says a lot. And then also for Anzac Day too. So hearing the neighbors' reactions to this really got me buzzing. And I was like, yes, I'm making a difference, boom, I'm back. And then I got a bit carried away, and Easter was around that time too when we were locked down. So I was like, there's a lot of young families in the neighborhood. I could do something about this. And then that's when I went to town and figured out animation and how to design these clips for the Easter Bunny, which is random people's houses, just comes up, and every time there's something different about it. And the feedback from the kids, they loved it there. So it was cool, just doing something fun and finding myself again and building me up. And then as lockdown eased, things started getting back to normal. But one thing that didn't was events. Events were still gone. And the only thing we could do as a production company was live stream. So I was like, right, what else can I do to bring in some income and help people out. And then I thought back. I was like, I loved being on the tools and helping my grandparents out with the hedges and stuff. Well, my New Zealand grandparents, not biological, but, you know. And then I was like, I love doing that. So I went and invested in some more tools, designed these leaflets, and handed them up the street. And then a couple of weeks later, I was like, holy shit, the ding, 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 the messages started coming in. And I was like, here we go, we got a little business called Nurtured Nature. So that was a kind of cool way for me to help people out, especially the lovely lady here, who is Vivian. She's 97 years old and an absolute character. So I love just the fact that now, as we've got the events back, I still get deeply involved with Nurtured Nature, which is a total opposite to the stress and noise of hyper entertainment. And this just gets me outdoors, relax, unwind, and making a difference in the community. And it's from that stillness, after the burnout and getting more in touch with my feelings and being more present, that helped me get more in touch with my intuition, which also helped me build installations for my loved ones. Because in 2021, my grandma sadly passed away. And my brother tried to live stream the funeral from the UK. But after 30 seconds, we stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning, me and my parents over here. But after that, the signal cut out and just nothing. And I looked to my dad and he was just distraught and distressed and in tears. And it was that moment I just set this intention. I was like, I really want to do something to help my dad. And the next morning, I woke up, tears started streaming down my cheeks. I picked up my iPad Pro pen and just started drawing. It felt like this idea was just flowing through me. And that's when I came up with this installation here. And I was like, right, I've got to make this happen. This will help my dad. So what happened next was we hired out Kandala Town Hall. Tom was a legend and helped me build this installation, which was big panels, which beautifully showed the memories of my grandma, smoking her in the face with a snowball on the left. And my grandma is actually the biggest adrenaline junkie, is probably where I get it from. Racing around the block was one of her favorite things in her wheelchair. That's my brother there, giving a little spin. And then, most importantly, my grandma up in the circle, being like shining down like a bright star in the sky. And then we also had 180 bulbs just flickering like candles in a circle around. So I went about my plan. Tom did the last few tweaks while I took my parents out for dinner, and I nipped into the bathroom and was like, hey Tom, is it all good to go? He's like, yeah man, sweet. And we just like final chats, came back out. Parents were like, you've been in the bathroom a bit, you all good? And I'm like, yeah, just a bit of a dodgy belly, it's all good. And then on the way back driving them home, I was like, hey, is it cool if we swing by an event we've been working on? And I was like, what? We can't gate crash. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's like, it's a long-term client. They'll understand. It's fine. Let's rock it up. They walked through the door and were just blown away and speechless. And my dad is never speechless. So it was quite an experience to see that happen. And my mum was like, we need to take photos. We need to show the family in the UK. And that's when I looked over my shoulder and I was like, Tom, I think it's about time we bring the family over. And then boom, 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 live streamed from all around the world. My family came in and started talking and they were like, what? And then it was a beautiful time and synchronicity struck again, because it was a time when all my family's super busy, but we were able to lock in a date where everyone was available, the hall was available, and it also happened to be my nephew's 3rd birthday. So we all sung him happy birthday at the end and ended on a real high note. But one of the most powerful moments of the night was when my dad pulled up a chair and sat down and just took everything in and just processed. And this was when like tears just streaming down my face, just watching him do this. And I was like, mission accomplished. So, and then it's my family as well, which are the biggest support crew. They just been there since day one, like let me use their garage, take it to the house, kitchen, you know it. Like my dad on the tools, my mum with the vibes and energy, which is where I get the dancing from as well. And like that love. And then my big crazy family on the left here, all of which have really helped me on this journey of growth. My brother helping me out with the writing of the bio and stuff, and all like that. My sisters have just been amazing helps too. There's one last person I like to thank as well, is my granddad. So my granddad lived right next door to us in our little cottage in the UK. And I'd always run around his place after school, and he'd be there teaching me how to draw and really spending that time to help me on my career, like help my creativity flourish. And one of the most like significant arts for me to him was that he did was the sunflower, which was a beautiful stained glass sunflower, which we had made into our house in England. And when I was 7 years old, my granddad passed away. And my mum said something pretty powerful that day. She was like, if you ever miss your granddad, he's the brightest star in the sky. And I believe he is up there, looking down, guiding me, probably having a bit of a do with making this synchronicity happen, and just really helping me on that path of growth and becoming my true self and capability. So wrapping things up, well, I like to say that although growth with the business through like strategy and like say investment is cool, I'd like to think it's the small things, the small wins that really help you on that journey, and also the intuition and the synchronicity that when you're following that true path allows you to be the most powerful in your true self and let you shine bright. And I've got one last thing to show you. A little movie of the project. So thank you all to my friends out here, the special ones that are close to me that really came for the support, and I really appreciate it. Family, and to all you in Creative Mornings for helping me listen to me. And this has been a massive thing of growth for me, because public speaking is doesn't come naturally to me, but I really wanted to give it a go. And in the supportive community, I thought it would be the best situation to do it in. So thank you.
Awesome. Are there any questions for Andy?
I just want to say it was incredibly inspiring.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so heartfelt, you know. I mean, you took us on a feel-it journey through what you've been through. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
What's next?
Oh, I think what's next, like with business, I feel like we're ticking along with the creative side and stuff, but I feel like something more powerful in a different way. Like, because of the amazing experiences of synchronicity I've had, I'd really like to write a book about the experiences I've had to help maybe open people's eyes and appreciate there's little things happening around all the time, which we can see, and help us enjoy a beautiful life. So yeah, I don't know quite how that'll be because I'm not much of a writer, but maybe it'll be like a children's book kind of style thing, interlinking these events and just amazing stories I've had on my journey.
I was looking in the Unity bookstore window this morning. They've got this little sign up about a course about self-publishing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, hey.
might be useful.
Oh, thank you. That'd be awesome. Yeah. I've already got the book title. It's called Jimmy's Journey to the Sun, and the sun being my granddad, the sunflower. So yeah, yeah. Cool. There we go. Well, hey, make it happen.
As a business owner,
Mm-hmm.
what's your advice be for people that are starting businesses?
I would say, like, get that support crew around you, because it's very like isolating when you start a business. So it's awesome having the friends and the beautiful people around you to support you, and family if they're around too. And then just really build like kind of good, like good self habits which help you like relax and unwind, because there's so much can go on in the mind, and like just that craziness, that mental noise. And then just get excited, get passionate about it, and just build or like design whatever you want to do and bring it to life, and just don't be afraid to experiment.
Anyone else?
I just want to say that your talk was a beautiful gift to us all. And you may never have given a speech before, but the thing is, you were speaking from your heart and what you've experienced, and what better way can you connect with other people? It was fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And it's like, with one thing I really didn't want to do today is read off notes, because I'm not the best reader, and like I'll just get flustered with the notes and it wouldn't be as powerful. But it was kind of like a bit nerve-wracking, being like, oh, will everything flow? Will everything go good? But I was like, just had to be like, well, it might not, but just roll with it and just do it. Just give it your best shot, you know? So, man.
So well. You did so well, Andy.
Thank you.
Creative Mornings loves you. So.
Yeah. And I love you too.